actually. Mediation as mediation as an ADR mechanism in Nigeria. ADR is simply an alternative dispute resolution. Simply means alternative dispute resolution. So, like I mentioned my previous video, that mediation is an ADR process. It's one of the ADR process. We have arbitration, we have reconciliation, and we have mediation. Mediation seems to be the easiest. Mediation is one of the key methods of alternative dispute resolution, ADR, alongside arbitration and reconciliation, like I mentioned earlier. Mediation seems to be the easiest and the quickest process. In Nigeria, mediation is recognized within the judiciary system and is encouraged by courts. The court has put in some systems whereby some cases are actually just recommended for mediation, and they are not. If the mediation process is not able to handle it, doesn't mean the court will not entertain it. They will further entertain it. But what I really want the government to really look into when some cases are brought to the court, I just believe that the cases should be weighed. Oh, this one should go directly to mediation, instead of going through the litigation process and going through the process of adjournment and wasting time and effort and money of the disputing parties. I just feel and I recommend that there should be a process that actually just recommends cases for mediation. Mediation is practiced in court, connected and private systems. Yes, I mentioned it earlier. I'm a mediator. You bring a case to me, I can help you mediate over your matter. And there are institutions recognized by the law that help you mediate your issues. So institutions like Lagos State Multi-Jurisdiction Mediation Bureau and the National Industrial Court. We have an ADR center. Then we have lots of mediation that is in the private sector. So there are private individuals that handle mediation cases. So let's also talk about why Nigeria needs mediation urgently. Why Nigeria needs mediation urgently. To be honest with ourselves, the Nigerian courts are overburdened. They are under-resourced, backlogged with millions of cases. Not enough judges. Wow, justice delayed is justice denied. So, because mediation is a very, very easy and fast process, the overburdened nature of the court, the under-resourced nature of the court, the backlog of cases in court will be resolved easily with the mediation process. Many cases in court today do not require full litigation. Like I mentioned earlier, I think you actually just put a system in place whereby cases are handled. Cases are reviewed. Cases are reviewed rather. Cases are reviewed for mediation. Cases are reviewed for litigation. Like in mediation, will say the moment you sense any iota of criminality, that mediator has to hands up immediately and hand over to appropriate authorities. So even if you take a case as a mediator or you bring a case and along the line, an element of criminality is detected in the case. Take for instance child abuse. Take for instance any criminal element, maybe murder, or fraud. The mediator at that point in time can hand over the case to the appropriate authorities for further uh, for further review. So justice delayed is justice denied. Many cases in our country today are not even supposed to get to court. Are supposed to be recommended for mediation process immediately. And what are the cases that, like I mentioned earlier, um, anything that has to do with criminality cannot go through the process of mediation. Family dispute, for instance, is a good case for mediation. Land and property matters is a good case for mediation. Business disagreements, good case for mediation. Employer-employee conflict. I had an employer-employee case I took to court, but I actually thought it would have been better that matter was handled in the mediation process. And I actually believe that if I had gone through a mediation process, that the relationship that later came out from would have been preserved. Then community and the decency district, community and decency district, community dispute, neighborhood issues, even um, compound problem. Let's put it that way, compound problem. Like they were saying in some palace, yard, you know, cases like that end up in court most of the time. But such cases can be resolved by the mediation process. Mediation removes these cases from congested court system and restores dignity to justice delivery. Such these cases we can just put them aside and mediation process is handled and let the court face very serious criminal cases and more daredevil cases. Let's just put it that way. Mediation and Nigerian culture. How does mediation affect the Nigerian culture? How does mediation affect the Nigerian culture? Before colonial courts, Nigerian resolved disputes through elders that have hammered on this, family heads, community leaders, dialogue, and a lot more local and indigenous mediation process has been on. Local and indigenous mediation process has been on. Church has a mediation process, the mosque has a mediation process, and the estate where I live, in one of the agreements we signed, mediation was a clause on it. So a lot of communities, a lot of businesses are including mediation as a clause. So the culture of mediation is being embraced by most Nigerians. But the problem we still have with mediation today is awareness. A lot of people are not aware. They still believe that cases should just go straight for litigation. Like I mentioned earlier, litigation is not a foreign thing to us. So it's been on, and like I mentioned, it's an ancient thing, it's an ongoing thing. We've done it in the past, we're doing it, and it's going to continue. But we're just asking now for people to recognize it and for people to embrace it and for people to actually add it to whatever thing they are doing. Let it be a part of our day-to-day